Hola amigos, it's Kara from Linden class. I have a couple things to show you this morning. One of them has to do with counting. It's called cards and counters. Now parents, depending on the level of where your child's at with their numeral recognition and their counting, you can modify this. You're going to find something in your house you have a lot of that you can use for this activity. Maybe you have a lot of buttons. I found some pennies. You're going to make some cards. Maybe your child will write the numbers, maybe the adult will write the numbers. You can go as high as you'd like to go. Now we have the counters. 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you're setting up your counters, you're going to put them in pairs as much as you can. When you have one left over, that'll go at the bottom. That way, once your child recognizes the quantity with the numeral, you can start looking at which ones are odd and which ones are even. This is cards and counters. Maybe you want to find a small bag or a little basket to put this material in so your child can work on it on their own as well. Parents, it's great to do this with them the first time and then give them some space to work on it on their own. Don't worry about correction. We're wanting them to just practice this on their own. Now, if you keep this material, I'll show you something different you can do with it next week. I have a fun game in mind for the same material. Now, boys and girls, I also have a story to share with you. I remember so many of my friends in Linden class had a lot of fun making their own books about some of our historical peacekeepers. I found a book thinking of all of you. It's called The People Awards, and it is full of people from all over the world who changed the world for a better place. And today I'm going to read a little bit about Nelson Mandela. Now, my Linden friends, I know you know a lot about him already. This is a little bit of a different story, and I'm going to show you how you can make your own book about him when you're done. Nelson had a chief as a father, and when he was young, his African name, which I have a hard time pronouncing, but it means troublemaker. A teacher nicknamed him Nelson. And as a young boy, he loved going to school, he loved boxing, he loved running. Now, he went to college to study law. At the time, Nelson's country of South Africa did not treat black and white people the same. Most of the people with black skin were poor and they worked as servants or in farms and in factories, and only the white people were allowed in the government, so the black people had no say in how the country was run. Nelson didn't think this was right. When he went off to college in Johannesburg, he saw how unfair life was for a lot of the people with black skin. He wanted to change that. So in 1944, Nelson joined the African National Congress to work towards Black South Africans having the same rights as white South Africans. 4 years later, the government changed the law to a system called apartheid to keep the Black people and white people apart. Mandela and another lawyer set up South Africa's first Black law firm, and they helped many poor people. Nelson also spoke out against this apartheid, but in 1962, Nelson was arrested and sent to prison for life. Here's an illustration of him working really hard at the prison. However, in 1993, the President of South Africa, F.W. de Klerk, released Nelson from prison. They both got the Nobel Peace Prize for their work in making people equal, no matter what their skin color was. And Nelson Mandela ended up being the first Black South African president later on. Now let's look at how you might make your own book about what you remember about Nelson Mandela. You could add this to a notebook or get a blank piece of paper. Nelson Mandela. I remember he's from Africa. Now green is the color of Africa on our continent puzzle at school. Let's see if I remember the general shape of Africa. I remember that Nelson really liked school and running. I think I'll draw a picture of a book for school. I always think of books when I think of school. I'll come back and finish my picture of Nelson running later. What else do we remember about Nelson Mandela? He was put in jail. Now, he was never violent. He didn't hurt people. But he was trying to help people be equal no matter what their skin color. And the law said that wasn't okay. That's why they put him in jail. Jail. Now, Nelson Mandela's story ended good. He got a prize for being peaceful. And he became a president. Of South Africa. Now I can go back and color my book more, add any words. Parents, you can gear this towards your child's abilities. Maybe if they just want to write pictures and you can do the words, or even if they just get the first sound of a word, that's all good. This is their book. I hope that you guys can all make one and help teach each other about some of the peacekeepers. Now next week, I wonder who you would like to hear about. Confucius? Or maybe Maria Montessori. You can put your vote in the comments down below. Have fun making a book.